Hey, hit that microwave just so it stop beeping because I had something in it. Hey, Shalom, Israel, Lord in Christ. Let me know if y'all can hear us.
So Ecclesiasticus
Uh, 4 and 6. Hey, Shalom, Israel. If y'all in the live, give me a 1 if you can hear me. The water, yeah, they said they can hear. No sign Christ. So, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be going into the sexual revolution that happened in the 1960s. I'm going to give a presentation. It's my first presentation, y'all, so bear with me. Give a PowerPoint presentation, and we're going to get into some history and, find out the reasons why we suffer from so many things dealing with immoral sexuality and sexual deviancy and all of those things. We're going to get into where all of these ideas come from, these ideas of sexual liberation, the ideas of LGBTQ, just living freely, my body, my choice, all of those ideas. Where do they actually come from? Do they come from us? Did they come from us? Or how did they come about? And, what has been the result of us actually following American society as far as being sexually liberated. Okay. The water, Olivia, the water, Sister Barathanawa, the water, my boy, Kadash, the water, right? So before we get into that topic, I just want to go over some precepts. I want to talk about a few things. If you could go ahead and read that precept.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4, verse 6. For if he cursed thee in the bitterness of his soul, his prayer.
Go to verse 5.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4, verse 5. Turn not away thine eye from the needy, and give him none occasion to curse thee.
Right. So this is talking about helping another fellow Israelite. This is talking about helping your brother, helping your sister, helping another Black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian in their distress. Remember last week we went over Leviticus. Matter of fact, we can pull that Leviticus 25 and 35 if you could. It's talking about helping your people. Mm-hmm.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 25, verse 35. And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him.
The Bible says that if your brother, meaning your people, be waxing poor, meaning they've become very poor, they're down on their luck, right? They're having a hard time. They need help, right? If they're in that state, you should help them. Read it from the top again.
God. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 25, verse 35. And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea.
You shall relieve him. You shall help your people. You should help your brother. Right. You should not turn an evil eye and say, well, you should have did better for yourself. You should have tried harder. That's not my fault. It's not my fault that you in the situation you in. And that's the mind state we tend to have with our brothers and sisters. We have no patience when it comes to our people. We have no patience. Absolutely no patience when it comes to looking at another brother or sister's condition and saying to yourself, should you help them or not? But in fact, what we do is we find out ways to accuse them more. Keep reading.
Yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner.
You can drop that. Now go back to Ecclesiasticus. Where you was at 4 and 5?
Okay. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4, verse 5. Turn not away thine eye from the needy, and give him none occasion to curse thee.
Go ahead.
Verse 6. For if he curse thee in the bitterness of his soul, his prayer shall be heard of him that made him.
So if you turn away your people, and this brother knows that you got it, you just rolled up in a Mercedes Benz, and you got brand new clothes on from head to toe, jewelry everywhere. You're doing good for yourself, obviously, from just looking at you. And you tell this brother, I ain't got time, man. Why don't you get a job? I don't got time. Like, nigga, please. Like, I'm broke too. You know, that's one thing we like to say in the Black community. We like to say, nigga, you asking me for money, and I'm doing bad too. Let me borrow some money. You know what I'm saying? We get a defensive when somebody asks for help. But you don't want to be that. We don't want to be in that mind state, because that's how our oppressor is. Our oppressor is in the mind state that if we ask for anything, and because we cry out and ask for the things that he owes us, that he hates us. He hates to hear our pleas. He hates to hear our cries for help. He hates to give anything, even that which he has stolen, which he has taken from us, right? There's a precept that could go with that. What is it? Restore the play. Okay, Salakia. I'll find it. Yes, so our oppressor, he does not, that's the mindset of our oppressor, because we know that according to the Bible, the rich hate the poor. The rich hate the less fortunate. But in our case, the rich of this world, of America, of this world that we know right now, who's running the world, the rich of this world have put us in that condition. They have put us in a condition where we're begging and asking for an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do when you go sign an application. You're basically you're pleading to survive. You're trying to survive by filling out this application and getting a livelihood and getting something, some substance, some money. You know what I mean? And he hates to give anything. And so we shouldn't be like that, because at the end of the day, we actually, and I don't want to sound cliche, we're all we have in this world. We're all we have in this world. And you always have to keep in consideration in the back of your mind that one day it possibly could be you at that liquor store asking for change. It possibly could be you, you know what I mean, walking into somewhere and hoping that you can get a job and get an opportunity. The tables might just turn. Right. All right, let me see. Let me get this. Give me Ezekiel 33:15. But wait, hold that. I'm gonna hold this. Go ahead and finish that precept. I'll read it from the top. Come on.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4, verse 5. Turn not away thy eye from the needy, and give him none occasion to curse thee.
Give him none occasion to curse thee. And this is just not the needy in money, the needy in something that you got that's material. This is also your brother that needs your guidance, needs your help. This is that sister that is asking for direction. This is that brother that, you know, you might have to be long suffering with this brother. You might have to deal with some things with this brother and overlook some things, but don't turn your eye away from this brother and helping this brother. You get what I'm saying? Do you understand? Like you want to look at this not just like money, but just like in helping your people, period, in whatever they need. Whether it just needs for you to boost their spirits up, and they come around you, and when they come around you, they can stay off of drugs. They can focus on the things they need to do because they're around brothers and sisters that's in the truth. They're a brother or sister that's fighting. They're on the fence, but they're here. They're trying to be here, and so this is how we look at it. Hell, if you're here, you're trying. You're still in the fight. You're still right there, but they're trying to be, you know, in the presence of you and be around you and, you know, come and, you know, and function with you or whatever you got going on. You know what I mean? You want to be there for those brothers and sisters. You don't want to turn your eye away and say, man, this sister, she bugging, man. This brother, he not, you know, he probably never ever be a officer in the school. He'll probably never, ever, you know, have any type of rank. But this brother, he means something to the Lord. Right. This sister, she means something to the Lord. You understand what I'm saying? Read it from the top.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4, verse 5. Turn not away thine eye from the needy, and give him none occasion to curse thee.
Because if you treat a brother like that, and you treat them in a way where they feel offended, and all they was trying to do was, you know, be around you and get some energy from you and, you know, be motivated and inspired, but you turn your eye away from them, you stop dealing with them, you treat them in a way as such they feel like they're nothing. Brother, you don't want that brother to cry out to the Lord. You don't want that sister to cry out to the Lord. You understand? Read it from the top.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4, verse 5. Turn not away thine eye from the needy, and give him none occasion to curse thee. Verse 6. For if he curse thee in the bitterness of his soul, his prayer shall be heard of him that made him.
Right.
Verse 7. Get thyself the love of the congregation.
You can stop that. But you do not want to turn your back on someone, on your people that are trying. We've all had, you know, things where, you know, we could have given up, or we felt like we wasn't worth anything, or we felt like we just kept messing up, or we felt like, you know, maybe the Lord ain't with us. Everybody's been there once or twice, you know what I'm saying? So that's not an occasion for another brother or another sister to turn their back on you Now, if you, you know, if you this is not just, I want you to be clear. This is not just for somebody that is what I'm talking about is not just for some brother or some sister that that is willfully belligerent or anything like that. This is for brothers and sisters that are actually trying, and you never know, like the scriptures say, you don't know if we entertaining angels when you deal with people just out in the world, let alone people that are trying to come into the truth. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to bring that out because I felt like that precept was something, that's a precept that I love, and that we always got to remember as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that we are brothers. We are one body. Even brothers and sisters that are not in the truth, even brothers and sisters that are in the world, we are called to be a light to those people. We are called to those, not people, but those brothers and sisters. We are called to, you know, move a certain type of way that they see something different. And mainly they see something different from us than any, you know, organization, the Christian church, you know, the government, anybody. They see something different in these brothers and these sisters and these Blacks, Hispanics, and the Indians that they don't see in anybody else. So give me that. Go ahead.
So like I got a question.
Go ahead.
So like basically, if you say you say like, okay, there's only so much I can do for the brother.
Right.
Like I'm trying, but it seemed like the brother, he not hearkening to what you say. Like, is that considered turning your back, or is that like you like not necessarily admitting defeat, but like acknowledging that there's only so much you can do?
Acknowledge, yeah, there's only so much you can do. It's not turning your back. If it's a brother that you're trying to bring it to the truth, but he's not really grasping it, but he has all the resources and he has everything he needs right in front of him, but he's not you know, listening or taking heed to it. The scriptures say that, you know, this truth is for the ear that hear. So everybody got ears, but everybody don't hear the truth, or at least some people don't get the truth right away. Some people don't hear that. Some people, it doesn't click. Sometimes people have to go through things. People have to, they be here, then they disappear, then they be back. You know what I'm saying? Most High in Christ, they back in the seat, but they had to go back to that old thing and find out that this is the truth. And then some people have to go through something hard, like something that is devastating, like a life crisis, a death, you know, a tragedy, in order for them to snap back and see that there's nothing that's out there in the world. You know what I mean? And they'll say in their mind, like, man, I should have listened to this a long time ago. Man, I was coming to class like years ago. Man, I wish I would have got it then, you know? But it is not, that's not turning your back when you're trying to, you know, help a brother or sister in this truth, but they're not taking to it. They're not taking heed to the truth. They're doing their own thing. You can accept the fact that at least you did your part. You know what I mean? The blood is on your hand. Hold your point. There's something else I want to say. Now we have family members. I have family members that you know, siblings that I would love for them to come into the truth. They know about the truth. They know how we get down and all of those things. But I don't feel guilty. I don't feel guilty for them not being in the truth, even though I'm in the truth and I'm getting rank and I'm, you know, feeding the homeless and doing all these things for the body of the Lord. But yet I have family members that they don't have these things. They don't have this understanding. I don't feel guilty because I've been an example to these family members. I've been doing this for years now. So I've been an example. I've been there. I'm able to, you can reach me. You can ask me questions. You can come to class. The door is always open. Go ahead. What you gonna say?
I had another question. So like, does that apply to like everyday life? Like you're trying to get this brother just to do right, not even coming for the truth, just to, like, you know, for him, or like, you know, he decides to move on, whatever it is he do. So can that apply to like everyday life? Like saying there's only so much I can do for this brother. I can see like
that does apply to everyday life too. So there is a point where you can say, well, this is only so much I can do. That's true. where you know, I done tried, I done did everything, I done showed you how to do this. And this is not just in the truth, like you said, this is just from a secular perspective, from being in the world, just trying to show a person how to do right, how to prosper, how to make good decisions. And it's only so much you can do. But like the scripture says, like, the blood ain't on our hands if something happens, because we showed them the way. You know what I mean? It would be different if you wasn't trying to show them right, trying to give them good direction, trying to tell them what's right, to do right and not wrong. It would be different if you just let them do what they want to do around you and you don't say nothing. That would be different. You know what I mean? But that's not what we do. We live our lives as an example, and we try to guide brothers and sisters in the right direction. So when you're doing all you can, that's all you can do. Listen, I'm not trying to put no crown on nobody's head. I'm not going to force a crown on your head. If you don't want to be here, shalom. That's the same as in the world. I can't force you to do right. You can't force a person to do right. You know what I'm saying? Like, either they're going to do it or they're not going to do it. But whatever they do, they're going to suffer the consequences of their actions, whatever it may be. They're going to, you know, and that's you don't even have to use the Bible with that. Whatever you do out there in the world, you're going to suffer the consequences. Right. You know, whether it's a good decision or a bad decision or a foolish decision. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. So, you know, bar. Let me see. Let me look in the chat. Right, Buffalo, New York. Our job is to fish, brothers and sisters. The Lord only decides who he wants in the truth, right? So that's our job. Our job is to work and do this work day and night. And whoever comes in here, like I said, that is of the Lord. A lot of times we feel like we chose the truth, but really the truth chose us. It's the other way around. We think we made a decision to come into the truth, but really it's the Lord wanted you in here. That's all it is. You know what I mean? What other precept do you have? I think I had you holding a precept.
Leviticus 25 to 35. But there was one in Ezekiel.
Let me get it. Ezekiel 33 and 15. Ezekiel 33 and 15.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
If the wicked restore the pledge, give again that he have robbed, walk in the statutes of life without committing iniquity, he shall surely live, he shall not die.
The Bible says that if the wicked restore the pledge, and if he walk in the statutes of life, what does it say?
If the wicked restore the pledge,
if he restore the pledge, go ahead.
Give again that he have robbed,
and he give back what he have stolen, what he have robbed.
Walk in the statutes of life,
and if he walk in the statutes of life, go ahead.
Without committing iniquity,
without committing sin, go ahead.
He shall surely live.
He shall surely live.
He shall not die.
He shall not die. So if let's just say if the white man was to give back everything that he has stolen, and he was to live righteously and walk in the statutes of life, right? He would live. He wouldn't die. But let me ask y'all a question, chat. Let me ask y'all a question. Will a white man ever give back what he has stolen? Will he give back what he have taken from the Native American Indians? Will he give back what he has stolen? Will he give back the 16 days, 16 hours of hard labor for 24 hours a day for God knows how many years in slavery? Will he give back what he have taken? Will he give back California back to Mexico? Will he give back what he have stolen? Will he do that? Hell no, he won't do it. Right. Hell no, he won't do it. Goddamn hell no, he won't do it. He is not going to give back. The Lord made him crooked, like the scriptures say, and only the Lord can make him straight. Right. You can't make straight what the Lord made crooked. He made these people, this man, crooked on purpose. It is his destiny to be this way. So while we ask and we desire for, reparations, and we desire for apologies, and we protest for justice, he's not going to give it back.
Right.
He doesn't want to give up anything. You understand? He doesn't want to give up a damn thing. Buffalo, New York lies, sir, because the Lord has created the oppressor to unalive and destroy. You damn right. Damn right. He is created for an example. Give me reason why the Lord raised up Pharaoh. Salakia. What the brother said is right. He is created for destruction. It is for an example to the whole earth. I'll get it for you. It is a shining example. Everybody know about ancient Egypt. Give me Romans 9:17. You might want to start at 16. Yeah. It's crazy how the Lord is doing something. He's setting up a stage. He's setting up a stage for the big finale. Go ahead. When you get it. Go ahead.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 16. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy. Verse 17. For the scriptures.
Go out. Fine. Let's start at 13. Okay. Give me 9 and 13.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved.
The Bible says that Jacob was loved by the Most High, but what?
But Esau have I hated.
Oh man, Esau was hated. And this is crazy, because in the Christian church, all y'all know is love. Y'all say God can only love. He cannot, do anything bad. But right here, we just read that the Lord hates someone in the Bible. Said God can't hate, but we just read it that the Lord hates Esau. Right. Keep reading.
What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God?
So because God hates someone, so now are you going to say that God is unrighteous? Right. Are you going to say God is wrong for hating a people that he created? Go ahead.
God forbid. God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
For he saith to Moses,
the water, Captain Kwan,
I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy.
See, he said to Moses, I'm going to have mercy on who I want to have mercy on. Who the hell are you to tell me that I'm wrong because I hate a people? Keep going.
And I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion.
And I will have compassion on who I want to have compassion on. I will have compassion on who I want to have compassion on. Right. That's the problem in America. They think that you're supposed to love everything. Well, guess what? I will have compassion on who I want to have compassion on. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Right. I don't have any more tears and any more love for all of the atrocities and for Israel and the Palestinians. I can't cry for that. You know why? Because I cried for Trayvon Martin. I cried for Tamir Rice. I cried for Emmett Till. That's who I cry for. Right. That's what when my eyes start to burn, my eyes start to burn for Eric Garner. I can't cry for anybody else. Just like the Lord can't cry. Salaki, that just like the Lord don't give a damn about anybody else but Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the nation of Israel, the seed of Jacob. That's all. That's who the Lord cares about. I can't have no compassion on anybody else. The Lord said, I will have compassion on who I want to. Like, nigga, who you telling? I want to. If I want to do this, I'm gonna do it. I'm the God of heaven and earth. That's right. I can decide on what I want to do at any time. Who are you but a man? A man that's full of feelings and lust and stupidity. Keep reading.
Verse 16. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth.
So it's not about who willeth or runneth or who's trying to do the most or who's doing this or who's doing that. That don't even matter, because I don't care if they're wearing white robes and standing on Mount Sinai day after day praising me. It don't matter to me, because I have compassion on who I have compassion on. Right. I hated Esau and I love Jacob, and it's gonna stay like that. I don't care how much it's not how much you will it or run it or you showing me that you love me and you're doing all of these deeds and you're giving out food and all of those things as other nations. That don't matter to me.
Right.
I'm gonna have compassion on who I want to have compassion. Those people that you call niggas, spicks, and lazy and all of that, that's who I got compassion on. That's who I love.
Right.
And I don't care how great you think you are or how, what's the word? What's the word? But anyway, the word philanthropy, how much philanthropy you do when you're giving out, the rich people give their money and do things for the poor people, go to Africa and build wells and, do all of these things. I don't give a damn. I have compassion on these people. Go ahead.
So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy.
But of the Most High that showeth mercy. And this is speaking to the Gentiles or the uncircumcised Israelites. So God had mercy. It's about who has mercy. And this is also a cut to the Israelites that were in Jerusalem that thought because they kept the law from the first day they was born that they were better than the brothers and sisters who were actual Israelites, but lived in the lands of the Greeks and served the Greek gods and were separated from the commonwealth of Israel. Right. He said, it's about God's mercy. He has mercy. You know what I mean? And that mercy is why we even know the truth today. Why we didn't just die a long time ago, a Christian or some damn Catholic or some Muslim. We could have died I could have died a long time ago. I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I should have been dead the way I was moving. Like I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you. I should have been gone a long time ago. You know what I mean? But the Lord, because of the Lord's mercy, brothers like me were able to get it right, get it together, and come into this fold, come into the body of Christ, and come into the knowledge that we were God's chosen people. Hell, think about how many of our people done died, and they just thought they was Christians, and they was going to be in heaven with white people that put them in slavery. Right. That's crazy. Can you imagine dying? Could you imagine living a black Christian your whole life, thinking God loves everybody? The color of Christ don't matter. You're a Gentile, and those people over there in Israel right now are God's chosen people. There's people that die like that. It's black and Hispanic people died thinking that Jesus Christ was some white man, thinking that they're gonna wake up in heaven and it's gonna be all colors of all nations in heaven with them. The hell out of here, man. Where you at?
Verse 17.
Go ahead.
For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up.
For the purpose. Now I'm going back to what Buffalo, New York said. He said the white man was created. What? Let me see. He was created for the oppressor to be unalive by the Most High, right? Paraphrasing. This is what the Lord says. He raised up Pharaoh. Read it from the top, that precept.
Verse 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee. So the Lord raised up Pharaoh.
He raised up the Egyptians. Black people love to claim we Egyptians. They had the gold, they had the pyramids. They had, like when it comes to claiming our identity, we don't say we African. Black people skip over all of those other places and go to the corner of Africa and say we was Egyptian. They wear the ankh and they wear all the the little beads and all that and say we was the Egyptians. We are infatuated with Egypt, and to a certain extent, that is like a spiritual thing because our forefathers, when we left out of Egypt into the wilderness, we wanted to go back to Egypt spiritually, like not just spiritually but physically. We wanted to go back to Egypt. And there is an affinity there because even the Bible says times where what Moses and I believe Paul was mistaken to be Egyptians. So there was a similarity there, but I just want to make it clear and cut that we were not the Egyptians. Right. But the Lord raised up Pharaoh. Egypt in the time was America. Egypt at that period of time was like America. Like everybody knows America all over the world. Everybody knows America. Like, I don't care where you at. Everybody looks to America as the leader in everything. When it comes to fashion, when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to, economics, technology, everybody looks to America as that world superpower and leader. And the Lord said, what? Read it from the top again.
Verse 17. For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up.
The Lord raised up Pharaoh, right? Go ahead.
That I might show my power in thee.
So that he can show his power in thee. So that he can show that he is the God of heaven and earth. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He raised up the Egyptians just to knock them down before the whole world.
Right.
Go ahead.
And that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
That his name might be declared throughout all the earth. A lot of y'all get upset that y'all don't believe in the Bible. Black people, black and Hispanic people, you say, oh, the white man wrote this book. The white man, blah, 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 this. And you never ask yourself why the Bible has survived all of these thousands of years.
Right.
Why is it published in all of these different, I believe it's hundreds of languages, right? It's published in hundreds of languages. It's because the Lord's name back then in ancient time, in antiquity, was declared throughout the whole earth.
Right.
And people remember that. People could not let that go. So it kept getting republished and not rewritten, but copied and copied down the line. And that's why we have a Bible today, because those acts that the Lord did in Egypt, people remembered those acts. And guess what? They're going to remember the acts that he do in America. And for the same reason, like the brother was bringing out in the chat, the same reason that he rose up Pharaoh, he rose up America. America is this superpower. They got military might. Listen, when I was a kid, I used to want to, I was into airplanes. I was into, today, like I'm not into airplanes no more, but today I can look in the sky and I can tell you any airplane. I can go to an air show and tell you any fighter jet, anything, because I literally had books like dictionaries studying airplanes because I wanted to be a pilot in the Air Force or in the Navy. The white man has a military that is out of this world. He has fighter planes that are, that could disappear and that could, go at supersonic speeds and, drone. Now he has drones that were literally, they sit in a room flying a drone and they can drop a bomb pinpoint while you riding a bike. They can drop a bomb on you while you're riding a 10-speed. He has military air superiority all over the earth. He has carriers, ships based in everybody's waters all over the earth. He has so much power, and everybody looks at him like, damn, he is the man. He dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and that shut everybody up. He dropped a bomb that was small. The bomb was so strong that even today, you can still go out to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the shadows of the people are burnt into whatever you was doing when that bomb hit. Your shadow was burnt into the concrete. It's burnt into the wall. That's how bright the atomic bomb was. That's how powerful it was. It burnt shadows into concrete. So you could go and see shadows of kids on swings, shadows of men on top of roofs working. And he did that. And so the whole earth trembled when the white man did that. And they look at his military as though it's unstoppable. But the Lord raised him up for the purpose that he can bring him down.
That's right.
Let's clap it up. The Lord raised him up for that purpose, just like Pharaoh, so he can bring him down. And everybody will remember that day. That will be a great and holy day. And that will be a memorial to the Lord, the God of heaven and earth, right. Yahweh in the Hebrew. Let's, is there any more? Oh, Salakia, give me, Captain Kwan put something in there. Give me Isaiah, I believe it's Isaiah 30. Let's get that.
31.
Let me see. You see it? You see it's. It is I'll get you. I got you right now. Y'all up in the comments active, so I gotta scroll the comments.
I see it 33.
30 and 3. 30 and 3.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. For his princes were at Zone, and his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them.
Damn.
Nor be in help nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach.
What verse? That was the whole verse 3?
No, that was verse 3 to 5.
Okay, well, just read it from the top. Just give me verse 3, because that is now it names some Egyptian cities, Zane and what?
Zone
and Hanes. Read it from the top one more time.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame. The strength of Pharaoh shall be your shame. The strength of America shall be your shame. And I'm gonna go into it in the presentation that I'm gonna bring out. That's what we did. We assimilated into American society. Now, a lot of people think that we, through the civil rights movement, we integrated. We didn't integrate. We assimilated. We got with the program, but we didn't get the same equal rights. Integration would have been that we joined with America, and we got the same benefits. Because when something integrates, it's the same. Right. So we would have got the same benefits, the same treatment, and all of those things. That's not what Martin Luther King gave you. What ended up happening is we assimilated, right? And we started to follow the ways of our oppressor, and we put our trust in our oppressor, and we became Democrat and Republic like our oppressor, and we took on the philosophies and the mind frame of our oppressor. The same thing that the Israelites did with Egypt. Right. But that's going to be your shame, because you're going to see a lot of Black and Hispanic people that will be against us. You've seen a lot of Black and Hispanic people that they will vote for Donald Trump. Black people, Hispanic people, and that was just crazy to me to see Hispanic people, like brothers and sisters, telling other Israelites, you should get a green card. Why don't you do it the right way? I'm for Trump. So that's going to be your shame when the Lord returns. America is going to be your shame, but back then it was Egypt that was to your shame, to your confusion and your hurt. Read it from the top again. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame. The strength of America is going to be your shame. You have Black people that actually believe that trust in the military of America, that's sitting here and saying, I wish they would come over here and try to drop bombs. Hamas better chill out, boy, because we got our military ain't no joke. You have Black people like that. You have Black people in the military that trust in our military, that are patriotic. Keep reading. And the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. Right. Verse 4. And so your trust, Blacks and Hispanics, your trust in America will be your confusion. I say it all the time. When COVID-19 happened, you've seen the hysteria. You've seen how Black and Hispanic people were panicking. I mean, everybody was panicking. But the thing is when there's a natural disaster, when there's something that is a pestilence or something of that nature, when that happens and there's really no rule of law, meaning, law enforcement ain't as strong as they usually are, or they might be non-existent in some cities and towns. When that happens, you will see the true colors of America. Now, case in point is Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina happened, flooded the city, and then you had Black people literally trying to walk and find places of refuge, but then you had truckloads of white people just shooting at Black people on sight and chasing them. So when there's no rule of law, that whole idea of America, I'm a Republican, I'm a Confederate, I'm down with Trump, all of that is going to melt away when it's just about Black and white race wars. Right. Nation rising up against nation. It's going to happen. So, unfortunately, that's going to be to your confusion, because you're going to say, whoa, what the hell is happening? You have fell in love with a lie.
Instead of falling in love, we're trying to find out who the hell are you in this world and what is your purpose according to the Most High. All right, we could drop that. So like, oh, y'all just dropping precepts, huh? Y'all dropping precepts, but Salakia, I think for time I'm gonna get into this presentation. I think it's time for that presentation. All right. Where we at? What time said we're at 8:09? Let me see. Y'all just bear with me. Let me set this up. Okay. That's something that I do want to go into. I forgot I did want to talk about that. I wanted to talk about that situation, and I'm not, wholly filled in on the whole story, but I did do a video on it when it comes to that DJ Academics in Saucy Santana. Now, I didn't even know who Saucy Santana was. And now I understand that it's a rapper. It's an LGBTQ black male rapper, right? And so I guess he got into it with DJ Academics, who DJ Academics talks about artists like rappers. He basically, says if you're trash or not, and talks about different stuff, Chirac and all that stuff, right? He got a huge following, well known. I guess he got into it because he was with this guy with Saucy Santana, because he was talking about somebody that Saucy hangs with, which is one of the city girls. Am I correct? I think I'm correct. I think I'm correct. One of those city girls, right? That I think the one that's with Puff Daddy, right? So they got into it, and I guess Saucy Santana, who is a man that dresses like a woman, makeup and all that, threatened to knock DJ Academics out and then ape him. I'm gonna let you put that together. I don't want them to shut the live off. So the letter R with 8. Put that together. Said he would beat him up, then he would take it. He would what I'm saying, blow his back out. Blow his back out. You know what I'm saying? But to be honest, like, and I'm not gonna even get the precepts. This is the spirit that we talk about. This is the spirit that was in Sodom and Gomorrah. This is the spirit when those angels came into Sodom and Gomorrah. Y'all can read the story on your own. When them angels came into Sodom and Gomorrah, the men in that city seen those angels and was like, man, I want to know them. I'm trying to take them down. And they insisted, you know what I mean? And so it just shows you the grotesqueness and how crazy it was even in ancient times, and it's damn near getting like that now in the world we live in, where people feel entitled to say and threaten to do anything, especially from that community. And also, I'll bring that out too, that they are even more in that community. They're more violent with their partners than straight people. I got the statistics. I'll bring that out too. All right. So just hold any questions you have, just hold it to the end.
Okay.
If you got any questions, and we're gonna about to get into it. So let's add this to the stage. And I'm going to come off the stage. Well, I can't. Can I come off the stage? We're going to, let's see, how can I do this? There we go. And we will remove. So, the sexual revolution, how it has affected Black and Brown communities. Okay. We're going to get into it, and I'm going to give you a breakdown. The sexual revolution. So we're going to talk about how it has actually, what it has done to our community, but more importantly, the history, so that Black and Hispanic people can see some of the things that we do don't actually come from us, but they come from this movement. So we're going to go over what is the sexual revolution. And then we're going to go over the 3 historical phases of the sexual revolution. And then I'll give a breakdown of the sexual revolution from the 1960s through the 1970s, which is the most known part of the sexual revolution. And then the results of these movements. I'll talk about some of the things that have happened from us taking on this lifestyle and this philosophy of life. And then I'll go over some additional information. Maybe I won't. I don't know if I have time, but I have it, but I actually just put it. It was going to be outside of the presentation, but I put it inside the presentation. And then any questions, which I don't, it's kind of like a lecture, but I don't know if I'll be able to get to the questions, right? So what was the sexual revolution? The sexual revolution, which also could be referred to as the sexual liberation movement, challenged the traditional behaviors on sexuality, morals, and more specifically, marriage. So the sexual revolution was a time period where people, they didn't want to do the normal thing. They wanted to, break out of that. And when I'm talking about the sexual revolution, I'm more specifically talking about white people. But you got to understand that we as Black people, we're here too. And we follow, we're a subculture of the main culture of America. And we follow this foot and nail, like tooth and nail, right? And so this thing basically changed the sexuality, or this movement changed the sexuality idea of what it was and how people had, went about their lifestyles. And so you can see here we have some pins. I got some pins in here just to show you these are actually from that date, from that time period of the 1960s and the 70s, like that hippie and that Woodstock era. It says, okay, what was the sexual revolution? Like, it marked an increase in acceptance of sex outside of male-female monogamous relationships. So that brought about, different ways of, sexual lifestyles, different ways to do things. There's really only one way to do things according to the scriptures, but people came with different ways of doing things, right? They thought of different ways. It says it also introduced normalization of contraception, the pill, public nudity, premarital sex, homosexuality, masturbation, alternative sexuality, and the legalization of abortion. So these are some of the things that came out of this movement. Contraception, which is birth control, the pill, which was very big back when it came out. I'll cover that also. Public nudity, which is, we all know that is not something that Black and Hispanic people are into. Premarital sex, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians are into. Homosexuality, maybe I could have put LGBTQ, but for educational purposes, this is written in the record. This is in the history book, so I'm gonna use that word. Masturbation, alternative sexuality. Alternative sexualities could be all types of things. We're talking about, an adult with a child, and a person with an animal. I think they have something called, is it sapiosexual, where a person is supposed to be, what if somebody could, what is a sapiosexual? But I believe they have all types of forms of things that turn people on, okay? And the legalization of abortion. So we all know that. We know about the protests and the fight, the pros and the against when it comes to abortion. Now, here are some historical phases of the sexual revolution. We have the Greek and Roman, we have the Victorian era to the Roaring 20s, and we have the 1960s to more of a current time. So I'll start with the Greek and Roman. The Greek and Roman, pederasty in ancient Greece was a romantic relationship between an older male and a younger male, usually in his teens. It has been called the principal culture model for free relationships between the citizens, our citizens. For free, that's very key, because a lot of these movements were about being free, about being liberated and getting away from the norm and doing something different. Okay. Where I'm at, it says Romans accepted and legalized prostitution, bisexuality, and pederasty. Now, pederasty is basically the same thing as pedophilia, right? The only difference is pederasty is specifically with a grown man with a young male, whereas a pedophilia is with any age of a child and any gender, which I don't really see any difference, to be honest with you. There is no difference, but of course, in their world, they make these differences. But this was something that some historians look at as one of the first waves, the Greeks and the Romans being one of the first waves of sexual revolution, where people were trying to do things different. Okay. Then you have the Victorian age, the Roaring 20s, which the Victorian age would go from about, the 1700s up into the 1900s. So it says sex out of wedlock was considered unacceptable. So sex was, not being married and having sex was considered to be unacceptable. Even, up into, I believe it was up into the 1940s and 50s. It says it was unpopular for women to speak of or have sex before marriage. Attitudes changed on sexuality and became more liberal. World War I changed perceptions on lifestyle choices, and you had flapper girls and petting parties emerging. So those things emerged. So during the Roaring 20s, the 30s, things started to become more acceptable. Attitudes after World War I changed when it came to sexuality. People were more open to try different things. Now, in the 1960s to the current era, this period, which is most documented, marked an increased acceptance of sex outside of marriage. Also, normalizing the use of contraception, the pill, public nudity, pornography, premarital sex, homosexuality, masturbation, alternative sexuality, and the legalization of abortion. And so that's more of the one we're going to get into, being that how the Black and the brown communities are today, the results of that we can see clearly in our behaviors. Okay. The free love movement. So these are some of the movements that came out of, if you could you turn that air down? Turn it down or turn it off. Yeah, because it's coming down like icicles. Let me see where we at. The free love movement. So these are some of the movements that came out of the sexual revolution of the 60s going through the 70s. Okay. The free love movement was a free love. It was a social movement that accepts all forms of love. The goal was to separate the state government from sexual and romantic matters such as marriage, birth control, and adultery. So what they felt was like the government doesn't have to be in their business. They felt like, if two people are consenting, they could be together, they could separate, they could do whatever they wanted without the intervention of the government or the state. Then you had the gay movement. At that time, it was called the gay movement. And now I know it's called LGBTQ, but for educational purposes, I'm going to use what's on the record. I got to say that because I don't want this to be taken down. The gay liberation was a social and political movement from the 1960s through the mid 1980s in the Western world being America and the European nations, that urged lesbians and gay men to engage in action and to counter societal shame with gay pride. So it was looked at as a shame during this time, and it was a lot of pushback for that lifestyle. And so they felt like, in order for us to fight back, what we have to do is show our pride. And today they have I said we, hell nah, but today they have that's almost everywhere in the world. They have, a Pride Month. So you see how things have changed from, the 60s. And then you have the golden age of porn. The golden age of porn was a 15-year period from 1969 to 1984, in which pornographic films experienced positive attention from mainstream cinemas, movie critics, and the general public. These films depicting explicit sex received wide theatrical release in the US. So I'm pretty sure everybody knows what porn is, but this was the beginning of it. It was accepted in movie theaters, and they loved it. And so these are some of the elements of the sexual revolution and how it evolved. I'm gonna move on to the next slide. Now, let me just say, this is for educational purposes. If you have children, they can sit this one out. This is the bikini, and I'm just going to go over, what this is about is how things became more accepted and nakedness became more accepted. It says women first began wearing two-piece bathing suits in 1946. Designer Louis Reard unveiled the bikini, inspired by the atomic bomb. In his words, like the bomb, the bikini is small but devastating. The small bathing suit faced criticism, but eventually was accepted by the Western world. And what you see here is the ancient Greeks. What they got bathing suits from is the Olympic Games. The ancient Greeks were known to sometimes be naked performing or wearing what you would call something like a garment, or not a garment, but like an outfit, like a bathing suit. And so you see in this diagram that I didn't make, you have from the 1800s to 2015 what swimwear looked like. And so you've seen slowly but surely people got more, well, America got more naked to where it's basically, bare minimum. And so these are some of the things that we have followed, and this has opened up the door for Black and Hispanic people to accept this. Black and Hispanic men, Black and Hispanic women to accept this as being normal. So nowadays in our community, the less is the better. Less clothing, showing more skin is the better. I'm gonna move on to another slide. Contraceptives. Many believe that the pill was the catalyst of the sexual revolution. Women could be more sexually liberated without becoming pregnant. Contraceptives were looked at as enabling rampant promiscuity. So when the pill came out, what people looked at, it was like, this is going to enable more people to be more wild and have more sex and try different things, because now they don't have to suffer the consequences of a union and getting pregnant. Now they could just be live their life and be wild and be single and all of those things. And so this was very big because you had people that was proponents against it. They were against the pill. They were against birth control, period. Because you got to think about it. If you made that choice and you did that thing, then if you got pregnant, you had to deal with it. And the way we came up, it was like, if a woman was to get pregnant, or you was to get a girl pregnant, then your life is over, because now you have a responsibility. But what this did was make people be more, how can I say, they were more adventurous and, being sexual and having sex. Move on to the next slide. Says in the 1950s, penicillin reduced death from syphilis. That's crazy. So at one point in time, syphilis that killed people because there was no medicine for it. It says this led to an increase in non-traditional sex, which also saw marriage rates decrease and divorce rates increase. Now, they say that even at this time, people were not into getting married. Now, you probably think that people wasn't like this. That's something new, that people don't put a lot of importance on getting married these days. But it's been like that since the 50s. In the 1920s, the 1920s brought about the 1920s brought about flapper girls, women of the night, and petting parties. The 1950s also brought about open marriages, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, mate swapping, swinging, communal sex, and swinger clubs. Right? Sister said that taking a Depo shot to prevent pregnancy, lawful or unlawful. No, anything dealing with contraception is lawful. Like birth control is lawful. To answer your question, that's lawful. So because of these, they came with these new medicines that could, stop diseases and stuff. People got even more wilder. Americans got even more wilder, and then in the 1950s, you had people having open marriages. They were swinging. They were doing all of this stuff, and they also had the baby boom. They call them baby boomers. People were having so many babies at this time period. Okay, y'all probably heard of the baby boomers. So with all of these things that I just went over, we have been followers. Black and brown people have changed their views and philosophical beliefs to fit the American model. We be trying too hard to be like them. We are Democrat and Republican, overwhelmingly Christian, and celebrate American holidays. Naturally, we have followed, agreed with, and joined the sexual evolution of the Western world. But has this benefited us? Has the sexual revolution made us a better people? I'm sure everybody knows the answer to that. You can just look, and I'm going to get into it. Let's see. What are the results of us following the sexual morality of America? You have child age sex, which in turn turns into a high teen pregnancy rate. Right? Everybody knows somebody that got pregnant at 13. Everybody knows somebody. I heard that story before. You have sex work with Black and Hispanic men and women, either selling or buying, prostitution, strippers, OnlyFans. All of these things go on, and all of these things come from that revolution of sexuality in America that we have took wholesale. You got a high level of sexual immorality. We don't have any morals. We don't understand that you should be, first of all, you should be vetting a person, like courting a person. Second of all, we don't know that, or we don't believe that if we be with a person, we're with them for the rest of our lives. We believe that we are just trying people out until we find our soulmate. That's how it works in the Black and Hispanic community. That is how it works. We try people out until we find the right one. And that's not how it was prescribed in the scriptures. Do you got Deuteronomy?
Deuteronomy 22.
Just hold that for me. So that's not how we don't have any morality in our community. We have a lack of sexual discipline and maturity. We are not taught these things in our homes. We're not taught these things because we have grown up to be Christians. We have been, taught in a way that we just do what we saw the prior generation do. Now, when it comes to what we should do, and I'll get into more in that later, we should be following the precepts of the Bible, the rules and regulations, the laws that were laid down thousands of years ago. And these things could stop all of this, not overnight, but it could stop it like in a month, like if we just decided to do these things, right? What else comes from following that sexual morality of America? We got single mother and fatherless homes. 70% of our homes have no man in them, and it's a single mother in that home. And these come from people hopping in bed with one another, which the sexual revolution, people were about free love. They were about, if I want to be with somebody, I meet them. Why can't I be with them? Why can't we, get it on? Let's get it on, and that's what people do. That is the nature of getting together. Even today, when you talk about dating, our relationships, and most people probably won't admit this, but dating nowadays is not just like, it's not like courting. It's like you literally are kissing and hugging and being intimate, and you're dating. You're dating.
Right.
In reality, y'all together in my book, but in this world, people literally do all the things that married people do. And then when one bad thing comes, one hard time comes, they separate, they break up, and then they both go on to a new person. And so that's where you get the single mother and fatherless homes. You got men that laid with these women on a humbug, and then you wake up in the morning and you realize there's some things you don't like about her. Maybe her eyebrows ain't straight, and you decide, okay, I'll see you later, and never call her again. Or you You wake up as a woman and you got about 3 or 4 other guys that's been calling you, texting you, and you want to give them a chance. I mean, it happens. This is our life, but this is not our culture. We're living another man's culture right now, and we're suffering because of it. Not only does this single mother and fatherless homes, those are produced from, one night stands and people not actually courting and getting to know people. These children that come from these unions, they grow up and they grow up to repeat these things, or they grow up to be a menace to society. They grow up to destroy the land. They grow up that, like the Bible says, a child that is produced from a 304 grows up to, fill the land with wickedness. Why? Because these are children that are unloved. These are children that are unbalanced. They don't got both their parents. They're not being taken care of. They're in the streets. They're living whatever kind of life they live when they're in the streets, and they make bad choices. Statistic from a statistical standpoint, they say you're better off. A child is better off being raised by a single man than a single woman, and that's not a knock to a woman. That's just saying that you need both parents in the household to be, a level-headed human being, to come out all right, to come out on top. Not saying that ain't nobody came out on top or, did pretty good for themselves just coming from a single parent home, but just with their mom. I'm just saying that in the big picture, if we do it the way that we're supposed to be doing it and not the way that America says to do it, then we will have, sufficient households with men and women in the household raising a family. That's how it's supposed to be. But we're following their morality, and it's not working for us. Like, everybody does it, but it really looks bad on us because we're God's chosen people, and because we're not following our culture. And that's in anything we do that we're following of them, we look worse in it, even though everybody doing it. Just like drugs, we look worse. We be tore up from the flow up. You know what I'm saying? We get on drugs and we're the worst person on drugs. Meanwhile, everybody else does it and they don't get in trouble. They don't, they're able to keep a job. They don't lose everything. They don't go to jail. They get 1,000 slaps on the wrist. But when it's us, it's not like that. It's because it's not our culture. It just doesn't work for us. Where am I at? Let me see. Let's see if I can move this around. Anyway, Black people lead in abortion. We're number one in the abortions that are done in America. I think the number is 350,000 a year. And it's the number one actual killer of Black people. And you can add up all of the modes of the ways that we die, whether it be accidents, heart disease, high blood pressure, heart attack, all of these different ways, you add them all up, they still don't amount to the number of abortions that we get on a yearly basis. But why are we getting all of these abortions? It's because we have a low level of sexual morality. We don't know any better. And we're going into situations just having sex freely, and then we wake up and we don't want the kid. And they have everything that you can take to get rid of a child, or in the resources for you to get rid of a child, but they don't have any resources for you to make a better decision on how not to produce a child prematurely if you don't want one. But there is a way how not to do that. It's prescribed in the scriptures. It's in the Bible. How not to get put in a position like that. But we put ourselves in positions like that because, hey, we're following them. So also you have what came out of that sexual revolution is the LGBTQ or all of that alternative sexuality, all of those lifestyles came out of that, and we were far behind. But now I think we're catching up. We're catching up because it was predominantly, when you go look at those pictures. You look at those pictures, and it's mostly white people that are fighting for their gay rights and fighting for all of that. And then you get around the 90s, you start to see black people. You get around the 2000s, a little more black people. You get around 2010, damn, it's crazy. But you know what's crazy, even within that movement, that it's still segregated. You got the white LGBTQ don't mess with the black LGBTQ. Like even within that world, you still a nigga. You still get treated. Even in that world, you would think they all come together. You still get treated like that. That's the same as with the feminism. That was a movement, the white woman suffrage movement, women's suffrage movement. You have black feminists, and when something happens to black women, those white feminists are not saying anything. They're not there to support. And then it's the LGBTQ. I think the L's is within that. The L's is fighting with the Q's, and the T's is fighting with the B's. Like, they don't get along within that community. But that's here and there. But the thing is, about these things have came out of the sexual revolution, something that we learned that was not of our people. Now, you also have, AIDS and STDs. These things significantly affect the black and brown community. These are the STDs and the diseases that have came from having no sexual discipline, no sexual morality, and being, sexual deviants, and not having guidance and learning these things from America. Okay. And also, I believe it's the revealing the nakedness and the revealing clothing. That thing you see is seen as normal. You see women with, half dressed, the top of your breast is all out, your stomach is out, everything is out. Like, we know that women have curves. We know that women have a shape. It's like we know that women have all of that. You know what I mean? And that still can be seen with your clothes on, covered up. Still can be seen, and you still look good. Still look gorgeous. You don't have to show your nakedness or any of your body. But that sexual revolution was a revolution about being liberated, about my body, my choice, me doing what I want to do with my body, showing it how I want to show. And now being half naked is being considered cute. Like, an outfit that is like half naked is considered, that's a nice outfit. It looks good on you. And there's no level of shame anymore, no level of modesty anymore. And I don't blame my sisters. I don't blame I don't put the blame on my sisters, as far as you don't know no better. But once you hear this class, once you see this presentation, you know better. You know why you do it. You know where it comes from. It doesn't come from your people. Okay. There's something else I want to say. Something else I wanted to bring out about that. Oh yeah, and then when it comes to the what I was just speaking on about the acceptance of women being half naked more and more, even the celebrities and all of that, that goes back to when they introduced things like the bikini. Like, you had a time period where women were covered, and then they started to introduce, like, through fashion, different types of clothing that at first got a lot of pushback, but then eventually it was accepted. And so this thing goes back to the introduction of the different types of clothing also. Now women dress scantily and clad and skanky, and it's considered cute. It's considered like, hey, she looks good. When in reality, she's a hot mess. She should put some clothes on. You know what I mean? Go to the next slide. Let me see. Now here we got some statistics. This is from blackdemographics.com. You can look at these for yourself. The Black HIV source of transmission: male to male sexual contact. We know what that is. 60%. 60% of men that have HIV get it from male to male contact. Somebody blowing somebody back out. So, like, if I could say that. Then you have 33% of heterosexual contact, 5% of injection drug use, and then it has 0%. So, like, is that 0% of male to male? It must be less. It must be less than 1 percentile male to male sexual contact and injection through drug use. Then, if you look to the right, it says all heterosexual contact. The diagnosis: all HIV plus from heterosexual contact were Black, 62%. And then the other racial groups combined were 38%. These are curses of the Lord, man. These are curses of the Lord for that sexual immorality, that sexual deviancy, that it's my body, it's my choice, I do what I want to do. Those are judgments. HIV is a judgment. I'm sorry.
Right.
If you could give me the well, we get to it, but if you could hold that, let me. I gotta write this down so I can remember, because we'll get some precepts afterwards, real quick. Okay.
Good.
Next slide. Now, this is some more data. The black HIV data. Now, if you look to the left, you have the diagnosis by year from 2008 all the way up to 2020. The blue is the male, the orange is the female. Now, you see the male is almost more than double in some years. In most years, it's more than all of the years is more than double the number of males. You know what that says? That says that there are some brothers out here that look one way and they're doing something in secret. It's double the rate of a woman. And then now, if you look to the right, you have the age group. So the most people that are the people who are mostly in danger are the people from 13 to 24. Well, second most. 13 to 24, 25%. 25 years old to 34 years old, 35%. These are some things that now I'm bringing out these statistics because these are the results of following that sexual revolution, following that thing that they've been doing since the 60s, and being, liberated to do what you want to do, and just have sex with who you want to have sex with, and go out into a party and have a one night stand and all of those things, and have a broken home because you slept with some man that was from out of town and now he's gone. All of those things come out of the sexual revolution of America, and it hasn't worked for Black and brown people at all. You understand? Now, these are some more. Now, we're going to talk about sexual violence a little bit. These are some statistics about sexual violence towards Black and brown men and women. .8% of lesbian women have experienced rape, physical abuse, and or stalking by an intimate partner, compared to 35% of heterosexual women. So what this is saying is that lesbian women are more likely to be violent than straight women. But this lifestyle comes up out of the sexual revolution that we follow. It says 26% of gay men and more than 37% of bisexual men have experienced rape, physical abuse, and or stalking by an intimate partner, compared to 29% of heterosexual men. So even when it comes to men in that community, they suffer more violence than straight men, domestic violence. Not only that, what it shows you is that that community domestically is more violent than straight people are with each other. I'm going to keep going. 35% of Black women experience some form of contact sexual violence during their lifetime. This is from the National Center of Injury Prevention and Control and the Centers for Disease and Control and Prevention, the National Intimate Partner in Sexual Violence. 1 second. Let me move this real quick. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, 1 in 5 Black women are survivors of rape. So these are sexual crimes or violence that come out of that movement, that sexual revolution. So we have followed these things, and they have hurt our people in so many ways. They have affected us in so many ways. And so this is something that we have to actually come to grips with in the Black community, because everything that I've covered actually affects Black people. And you've seen the beginning of it. You've seen how it started. You've seen how it progressed and evolved. And we followed all of these things because we were the people without an identity, trying to integrate and be a part of something. And we followed the popular culture. And the popular culture has pit us against the Most High, where as other people have a good time and they don't have any problems, we suffer all kind of problems, we suffer all kind of violence, we suffer all of these things, these experiences and these side effects of living that lifestyle. So thank you for that. Let's clap it up. Now we're going to get back. Let me drop this down. Time check.
56.
So, what do you got?
Deuteronomy 20.
So we'll go over like a few precepts just to talk about the set, that coincide. So we'll go over. So what I went over was that people in our community, what we tend to do is we just shack up with people, we lay with them. We go to the club, we'll lay with somebody. We don't get to know people in the Black and Hispanic community. That's why most of our relationships, like I would say, not most of them, down there, all of them fail. And then you have so many Black and Hispanic men and women complaining about each other online and just period about because they had a bad experience. Well, you did not get to know the person. You didn't do the right things in order to be with the person. You thought you went into this thing with an exit plan, and it's because you live a life that Americans live. You live that life of the sexual revolution where you're going to lay with somebody and you're going to keep laying with people until you find the right person. So go ahead and give me that. This is what's supposed to happen when if you see a woman or a man that you want to be with, you're supposed to go to their father, go to their parents. Their parents talk to your parents. Hell, half the time we don't even have parents, or we don't got both parents in the household, or the father in the household to even do this thing. And this is why in ISUPK it's so important to rebuild our people, strengthen our men to be men and to be in the homes, and the next generation to be, in the home, strong fathers in the home, there for their children, the leader and the actual head for their children, for when their daughters and their sons get of age, they can be there to make these decisions and do it the way that the Lord prescribed. Go ahead and give me that.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 28.
Mm-hmm.
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
Right. So if you lay down with a woman, you have sex with a woman, you are to, first of all, you should be paying a dowry for that woman. You should be in communication with her father. Her father should know you. He should be able to actually approve, not you just lay with her and then he find out later on and then you pay the dowry. It should be that you have this thing set up that y'all getting to know each other. Back in the day, when you would want to go out with somebody, you would have to have chaperones. You would have to have an adult with you. You want to go out with a girl, somebody would be with you and chaperone y'all to the skating ring or something like that. For none of these type of things to happen, for you to, think or do anything like, have sex, you know what I mean? And the Bible prescribes that sex is marriage. That's what it is. It's not like, oh, I had sex with her, she was okay. Well, I like this other girl though. You can't do that, because what you end up doing is unknowingly you're sinning against God. You're sinning against the Lord, and you're making that woman 304 or a whore, right? Because she eventually is going to be with somebody else, but she should have just been with you and stayed with you. So we have to be educated on these things and come back to our heritage and our culture, or else we'll keep, going through the same things we're going through by following, the ways of this world, the ways of America, this sexual revolution and all of that. If you could give me the botch of Egypt. Let's talk about, because it came to my mind, we were talking about sexually transmitted diseases. Like these are judgments, these are some of the things that have come from God for our disobedience to following what he say follow. You got it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 13, verse 2. When a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, a scab, or a bright spot, and it shall be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, and unto one of his sons the priest. And the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh.
What is that the one with the scab, the botch?
A rising, a scab, or a bright spot?
Give me the scripture. I will give you the botch of Egypt.
Okay,
You found it? I can find it real quick.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 27. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods and with the scab and with the itch.
The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods and with the scab and with the itch. That's what the Lord said he would do. Those venereal diseases and those STDs that come from living those type of lifestyles, those are a judgment from the Lord. The Lord was saying he would do that in the wilderness, right? He was telling the Israelites this would happen to you. You'll get the botch and the scab and the itch that you got in Egypt, and now you got it in America for your disobedience to the Most High and following his law, statute, and commandments, and following this this popular culture in America, and following their philosophies and their way of life, and not following the law, statute, commandments. We're suffering for it. We are suffering for it. And not to mention, that's something I didn't bring out in the presentation, is that a lot of times when they were doing these things, whether it be just that whole free love of that movement, all of those movements, those hippie movements, they were doing drugs too. They were doing drugs. and having orgy parties and swinger parties and all that. Another component to all of that sexual immorality is drugs, using drugs, getting high, shooting up drugs, snorting drugs. That was a big part of that whole era. Even the psychedelic drugs. And so even now, that goes hand in hand with sexual immorality is drug use. That's like even in in the world, you can't, you're not getting down with no girl unless you got a blunt or you got something. Most brothers will tell you they know they can do this with a girl if they have a blunt, if they got some of this drug. Most drug dealers come around, that's how they get sex, because they always got the drugs. They got the thing for people to quote unquote have a good time, for people to be lit. So those drugs go hand in hand with that sexual immorality and making all of those bad choices. And then 2 weeks later, you're pregnant with some dude that don't even want the baby. He too damn weak and too drug addicted, and he telling you he think you should abort the baby. So these are some of the things that we have learned here in America. And with that, listen, I'm gonna wrap it up. Listen, Israel, what is that? April 20th is the Lord's Passover.
That's right.
The 55th on 5/5, the 55th Passover of the Lord. Make sure you be there. Make sure you're in attendance. Make sure you get into the one of those, not one of them. I think it's one or two. I think it's just one. Make sure you get into that hotel. Make sure you pay that Passover fee, that $200 per person. All right. Pay your Passover fee. Get that out of the way. If you got to do a little payment plan, I think you can do a payment plan. Even on PayPal, on that donation thing, you can set a set amount that it will pay every month. You got time. So let's get that money in. Let's rock it out. I said earlier, we're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be beautiful to see brothers and sisters, Lord willing, if World War III ain't hit by then. Right. But if World War III hasn't hit by then, I'll see you at the Passover. I'll be in attendance, Lord willing, and we'll rock it out. But if the chariots crack on that day, I said that's gonna be a glorious day. If the chariots crack at the Passover, hell, at least I know that I'm doing the work of the Lord at the Passover if the Lord returned. All right. So shout out to everybody up in here. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters. Young Man B, Sister Baratanawa, ISBK Buffalo, New York. Shout out to you for rocking with me. Olivia Arnold, Trooper Quadash Allah. Shout out to you. Who else in it? Captain Kwan was up in here. Shout out to all of y'all, man. That was the first time. That was the first time for me doing a presentation, and maybe this is not the setting, but I bring out that type of information anyway. I could have did what I did on my regular format, but I wanted to try a PowerPoint to see what that was like. Maybe I'll save that for a lecture type of thing. Right. You know what I'm saying? Lord knows, who knows? I might be doing a lecture pretty soon. Some on Africans or something like that. But big shout out to all the brothers and sisters. I'll see you next Wednesday. Shalom, Israel.